let's do a quick sound check, shall we? For those of you who are watching already, we were like 2 minutes early today, so oh, I thought we had a cat about to join us, but we don't. He's running off to go somewhere else. Do you want to leave them in here? Yeah, there we go. There. So I'd just like to know if this is working. So if someone on Twitter or someone on, you know, something can let me know. Actually, I can check the, I'll check the Twitch chat. Here we go. And we're live. Yes, there we go. For those of you who have not seen my intro teaser video on YouTube, we are potentially going to have a live unboxing of the iPhone 5 tonight, which I know you guys are super, super excited about. Unboxing of the iPhone 5 tonight. No, no, am I not? I'm not. Echo? What do you mean echo? Okay, let's see if the echo's gone. Echo gone? Echo gone? Here we go. Here we go. I'm waiting for people to say the echo's gone. Yeah. Okay, we know there's an echo. What? See, here you go, guys. Here you go. Okay, tell me something. When you see that 10 people have typed echo, do you feel the need to say echo? When you see that 10 people have typed echo, do you feel the need to say echo? When you see that 10 people have typed echo, still gone. What? Please mute your stream. No, the stream is muted. Hold on. Still gone. Okay, we might have a problem here. Please mute your stream. No, the stream is muted. Hold on. Good thing we started early tonight. Okay, we might have a problem here. Please mute your stream. No, the stream is muted. Hold on. Good thing we started. Browser page isn't even showing my stream. That's bizarre. All right, let's go to a different website. Okay, let's see if that helps. See, it's great that we're having this. It's great that we're having this time together, like 10 seconds apart. Okay, hold on. It's great that we're having this time together, 10 seconds apart. Okay, hold on. We cannot see the echo results until people say close your stream. My stream is closed. My stream is closed. There's no need to tell me to close the stream. Hold on. Let's see if this. Let's see if my stream is closed. There's no need to tell me to close the stream. Hold on. Let's see if this. Okay, how about now? Still echo? There we go. Are we good? We good? All right, we're good. Apparently I have to mute XSplit because XSplit is, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. I have no idea what's going on because I've only got one mic. Actually, I want to know, how is the audio quality tonight? Because I am using something pretty sweet. This is an Asus Thunder FX external sound card that has an environmentally canceling noise cancel thing, that red light that's on what would be the top to you guys and the right hand side of the unit to me. That audio is the same. It's a little worse than last time. Good clear voice. See, yeah, you guys are giving me mixed messages here. So why don't we kick things off with a couple of Twitter questions. I've got my hotkeys working this time, so we'll actually be able to see what each other are talking about. Let's go. 8 new interactions. Oh, okay. There are 2 audio. Fine. Aha. HKG, who is here, wants to know, how do I feel about the Trinity APUs that are coming out? So I don't really have feelings about hardware per se, but I am definitely excited to see what AMD has done in terms of faster gaming performance on what would otherwise be a very entry-level processor. Now, it's no secret that AMD's APUs already destroy Intel's, actually here, I'm going to find a, there we go. Let's go youtube.com. And we're not going to have sound here, guys. Sorry. So youtube.com, let's have a look at our IGP showdown. There, that's me right there. See, very few people watch these videos, which is frustrating because they're pretty informative. See, look at that. Lots of likes, very few dislikes, but no one wants to watch these more educational videos. So as I have apologized for numerous times in the past, and people think my voice quality is way worse than before, I mean, I can turn off the environmental noise, and you know what? I'm just not going to play with it. So skip ad. I'm going to try and skip the ad. That's their new strategy, is to not let you skip the ad. So this is me with a crazy hairdo that And this is the video not playing, which is obviously really helpful to make it look, less horrible. So basically we do graphs, and those green graphs there are the AMD graphs. And this is Crisis right here. And those blue graphs are the Intel graphs. So this is Ivy Bridge versus Intel's or AMD's first generation APU. So with their next generation APU, I am super excited to see what they come out with. I actually have about 3 of the new APUs on hand already. Well, rather Slick has them, and he's working on testing them as we speak. At least he's supposed to be working on that as we speak, but he actually may not be. So there's only one way to find out if he's actually working on it, and that would be to call him. Maybe we'll make that like part of the live show at some point, like crank calling Slick whenever we're doing a live show. You know what? Okay, okay, we're gonna do this. So the first tweet, okay, of what I should prank text Slick, I will take that. I'll take that tweet and I will text it to him. So we're gonna start watching the Twitter feed here, and I'm just gonna change just so you guys can be pretty confident that I'm actually doing it. We're gonna go because he was trolling me during one of my previous live streams. He actually phoned me in the middle of it and was asking me sort of smart arse remarks, questions. All right, hold on. I'm going to change his name in my phone. I'm going to change it from his real name to his other more different real name, which is obviously Slick. And I'm just going to cover up his phone number here. Whoops. So you guys can see that this is whatever. You can't see anything. Forget about it. So you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay, here we go. New interactions coming in. I'm going to find the first one. So I'm not, it's not okay, will you marry me? That's the first one. I think it's lame, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's what you guys have asked for here. Okay. As long as he's not watching the live stream, then here we go. So that's Slick, and that is my. I can't do this. I'm trying to look through the screen. There we go. There it goes. See? Ha ha. We just texted someone. Let's see if he replies right away. So I'm going to leave this here for now, and then I'm going to switch to my other view so that I can move over here. No, better yet, I'll put this over here. So we can keep an eye on that while we see if we have any other topics coming in. We'll see what he says. This is going to be live, right, guys? So I have no idea. I have no idea what kind of a reaction we're going to get out of him. All right. Tell him you broke the iPhone 5. Okay, no more suggestions. And besides, I tell him he's fired like every other day, so he won't even be surprised by that. Christian wants to know what's the difference between DDR2 and DDR3. You should definitely look that up on YouTube, Christian. If you search for DDR2 versus DDR3, I have a video all about that. Thomas Heckler. You know what, here, we'll put this away for now. Thomas Heckler wants to know, what is the best way to clean out CPU fans and case fans? I have filters in my case. So I would suggest checking out the Dust PC. Let's try PC Dust. Oh, dust resistance. Apparently that search term is not going to work for me. So we'll try something else. Computer cleaning. And there it is, 140,000 views. PC cleaning tips, removing dust bunnies. Maybe if I'd used better search terms for that, that would have been better. Here we go. We've got Slick's message back. He wants to know if he's going to get a dowry of a 3960X. So it looks like he's actually down for the idea, and that's very exciting for me and, of course, all of my viewers who are very happy about my impending nuptials. We're not going to give him any more context for that. I'm just not going to reply to his text anymore, which will be for the lulz, of course, as well. Let's move down. My Little Pony theme song. Okay. All right, 18 new interactions. Thoughts on DDR4? Good question. DDR4 is probably going to be lower power, higher frequency and higher latency than DDR3. We honestly haven't seen any big, on the desktop anyway, we haven't seen any big performance improvements come from upgrading our memory technologies since pretty much dual channel DDR2. I mean, if you go back and look at the numbers, back then, even especially on platforms with an integrated memory controller, so AMD's platforms at the time, not Intel then, but Intel now, we don't see that much of a difference in terms of performance because we don't need all that memory bandwidth these days. I mean, if you're buying like an X79 platform system, for extreme Uber gaming or whatever else, you might as well get 4 memory sticks because they're so cheap these days. But the actual difference in performance running on an X79 platform between dual channel and quad channel is on the order of like single digit percentages. It's not actually that huge. All right. Hey Linus, is it worth me waiting for any tablet with a keyboard dock on Windows 8 or just get one of the Android ones? Personally, I find with the Transformer series, the keyboard experience on Android is actually not that satisfactory. It doesn't feel that clean. I haven't used it with Jelly Bean though. And I haven't used it extensively with Ice Cream Sandwich. So this is based on the honeycomb days. However, I think we can all assume that a Windows 8 experience with a keyboard and mouse is going to be pretty seamless compared to what you might see from its competitors. Nikhil, see, I always do this wrong. This guy right here wants to know, what are my opinion on Corsair's Dominators? So Dominators are RAM, available in DDR2 and DDR3 varieties. Well, rather that's 2 and 3. Oftentimes they're faster than other RAM. It doesn't make a huge difference to your system performance, but they look outstanding. The new Dominator Platinums, especially with that like silver bar along the top, makes your system look ballin', and they have like interchangeable lighting effects and stuff that you can put in them, so that's pretty cool. Other than that, they have a lifetime warranty. They're hand tested. They're Corsair, so it's probably good stuff. That's about all, for my opinion, on Dominators. Unless you meant some other kind of Dominator. I'm assuming you meant Corsair Dominators. I mean, whatever you're into. I mean, I'm not here to judge on this live stream. That's not what this live stream is about. Phil, have you heard about any high pixel density monitors coming out soon? Actually, I have something very exciting to show you, Phil. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go into my folder where I archive all this like stuff that I don't know might be interesting or might not. So in my pending folder, you can see that we have ASUS PB278Q showcase coming out on NCIX Tech Tips. So that is going to be pretty cool. And I hope you guys are going to check that out. Don't forget to be subscribed to the NCIX.com channel as well as my Linus Tech Tips channel. Otherwise, you won't necessarily see all of my content because I do upload completely different sets of videos to both of those channels. And that particular monitor is a 27-inch monitor with a 2560 by 1440 resolution. No, it's not quite up to the kind of pixel density that you see with like a Retina display or with some of these newfangled Android tablets such as the Transformer TF700, but it's still significantly higher than, well, what we're used to on the desktop and is therefore exciting. So I'm going to move that away. I actually have no idea how many people are watching the live stream tonight, so I'm kind of curious, but I guess I'll look a little bit later. Okay, scrolling down. Oh, okay, we're back to where we left off. Let's have a look at 75 new interactions. That means we're starting to see a bit of a ramp up here in terms of how many people are watching, and it's you again. You're my favorite. Let's see if we can get rid of you for good this time. And you are blocked. Bye-bye. Thank you for playing. Come again. Actually, probably don't come again. That would be best. All right, what's better to use for 120 hertz gaming? DisplayPort or Dual-Link DVI? I'm using a GTX 690 and the BenQ XL2420T. Simple answer. Totally doesn't matter. They're both completely digital connections. They're both more than capable of delivering the bandwidth that you need for 1920 by 1080 120 hertz. DisplayPort is believed to, the rumor is that it has slightly higher latency compared to DVI. So if you don't, for whatever reason, need the smaller connector versus the DVI connector, then I guess you might as well go with whatever cable you have lying around. Cables make digital, so there's no difference between like an expensive DVI cable and like a cheap DVI cable. It just doesn't matter. The only time you really run into trouble with cables is when you're talking VGA cables. So with any analog cable, the actual quality of the cable, the quality of the connector makes a big difference. With digital cables, you'll know right away if there's anything wrong with the cable because it just flat out won't work. And I think we have a visitor. Come here. You want to come visit Rocket? Here. You guys can see him, perhaps? Whoop, whoop, where'd he go? Rocket, there you are. There you are, sweetheart. Say hi to everyone. There he goes. Yeah, yeah, saying hi to everyone. Hey, there you go. They can see you. Okay, well, that was fun. Rocket joined us for just a moment, and then he had to leave. Bye, Rocket. Okay, personal rig updates. No personal rig updates this week. I've been super busy this week. David wants to know if I have an NCIX discount. You bet I do. It's awesome, by the way. Kevin says, thank you for taking the time to live stream to us, your loyal fans watching you right now. I'm watching you, Kevin. No, but seriously, thank you guys for watching, because if nobody watched, then I'd be one of those sad people on the internet that actually oh, this was very sad. I came across this YouTube channel that's been around for about 5 years, like 5 years, and it had like hundreds of videos on it, and like 100 subscribers, which at that point is basically probably fakes. Like it's probably not even real people, and it just like all these hours of content that have been created and nobody ever watched them. I do feel truly lucky and truly blessed that you guys even want to watch me on the internet. So no, thank you, Kevin. Even though I gave you the stare down earlier before, and I'm very sorry about that. Vincent wants to know if there's any news on the rumored Corsair H80i and H100i. I haven't heard anything, but I can tell you right now that that sounds pretty exciting, because if it's an I, then it's probably like a new AXI power supply, which is awesome, and it probably goes with that somehow. So that would be my entire take on all of that. Oh, random. You just won the Fail Tweet of the Night award, because when is NCIX coming to Ontario? We are going to go on a little voyage of discovery here on the Contact Us page of NCIX. Dun, 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 dun. Ontario locations, Mississauga, Markham, other Markham, Scarborough, and a warehouse. Bam. I'm sure you meant Toronto City, but, you know, whatever. The suburbs are basically the same. So you can still go to NCIX. You just have to like put some effort into it. Justin, I've heard using canned air is bad for cleaning your case because of chemicals or something. Is this true? I probably wouldn't worry about it too much. I mean, I wouldn't just like turn it upside down and like spray the liquid directly onto everything. But yeah, I wouldn't overthink that. JJ wants to know what I think of Chromebooks. JJ is, oh, see, I do that every time. JJ is right there. So JJ, Chromebooks are, in my opinion, not there yet. Now, if the Chromebook had apps in much the same way that Android has apps, for example, then I might see some more utility to it, because not everything runs in a browser yet. I mean, once we see some more consolidation in terms of web standards, like if Flash just goes away, which is going to take time, it's not going to happen instantly, then there might be more possibility of writing apps that are completely universal and will work 100% of the time. And aside from the lack of that sort of unified structure to the other problem to me is the requirement for constant connectivity. I mean, for me here in the Canadian ghetto, it's still expensive for data for my device, and then if I have multiple devices, then I'm paying for multiple data connections, which again gets sort of more expensive. I mean, you can bundle things together, but the idea of having a device that only really functions the way it's supposed to if I have a connection is not that appealing to me personally, but in places like Japan or places where the population density and the IT infrastructure is much better, then it might be better. Justin wants to know FX 6200 or 8150 for gaming. Justin, I would suggest that you consider an alternate platform if gaming performance is your only consideration. I did do a review of the 8150 when it came out. Let's see if I actually here. We'll see if I can dig it up. You know what? Let's just use our half panel here. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, let's find another. Okay. Yeah, Slick sent me a follow-up message, one of those big O, period, small O things. He's like, I'm not going to reply though, just for lulz. It'll be funny, right? Okay, let's search for FX 8150. It helps if you type for it. Oh, that changed, right. Whoopsie daisies. 8150. Let's try my other number pad. All right. Hey, there we go. Unboxing and first look has really that one has 240,000 views. Go figure. And there's the gaming benchmarks versus the 2500K, which is a pretty last generation processor there, guys. So let's go ahead and yeah, my Powerline internet's really slow. I think in this one I just showed like an Excel chart. And since it's not in HD right now, that's going to be pretty hard to read. I can understand why you guys don't like the way I do these charts. In my defense, though, I usually read out a lot of it, like during the process. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. So pretty much, if we have a look at the data, which is to our right here, we can see that the 8150 gets hold on, min-max average. Oh, was actually very similar across the board to a 2500K. Well, okay then. Okay, so that's the last generation Intel CPU. Since games don't really take that much advantage of, here, how many cores for gaming. Since they don't really take advantage of that many cores, you can assume that any modern Intel CPU is going to be slightly faster than that, although it should be noted, see how many CPU cores is enough for gaming? There's another good video about this. It should be noted, however, though, that, where was I going with this? Ah, yes, my legendary bottleneck video. Let's see how, yeah, right there. You search for bottleneck right there. Understanding hardware bottlenecks and how to avoid them. If you have your graphics details turned up, which you should if you're running a decent machine with a decent graphics card, you're going to discover that it almost pretty much doesn't matter what CPU you have to a point, as long as you've got something modern and something reasonably fast with a reasonable number of cores, because you're going to be GPU limited anyway once you turn the details up. And bottlenecks are not necessarily a bad thing. Every single system is bottlenecked. I have so many people ask me, will this part bottleneck this part? And it's not that simple. Watch the video right there. Watch that video later. Bookmark it now. Just do it now. Watch that video later, and hopefully you'll understand it a little bit better. But any given hardware configuration, let's say CPU A and video card B, depending on the settings I'm running, the CPU is the bottleneck, or the GPU is the bottleneck. It's not just as simple as, well, this thing bottlenecks this thing, and no, it doesn't work that way. So it comes down to how you're using the hardware more than anything else. Do you like cheese? What is this cheese meme? I just watched Gangnam Style or whatever that video is called. Yesterday was my first exposure to this. And honestly, these memes just pass me by a lot of the time. I mean, I'm working during the day, and then I get home, and it's baby time, and then I upload my videos, and then I sleep. So I haven't had much time for really anything else. But I gotta say that's very confusing. I mean, it's sort of like it's entertaining because he's like riding a horse, but I don't know that it's my favorite song per se. So yeah, let's just sort of move right along. AJ wants to know if he should. One of these days I'll get this. AJ, right there, wants to know if he should, with his X6 1090T and 6970, upgrade now or wait for next-gen stuff. My performance in games is average to low. I would really like to know why your performance in games is average to low. I'd say your video card is getting a little bit, I mean, it's not even bad. And your CPU too, like the 1090T is actually not really slower than the current generation bulldozer stuff. As long as, I mean, that's a black edition, so you better be overclocking it. And the same with the 6970, it's a good overclocker. If you haven't already done so, maybe overclock your hardware and see if it lasts you a little bit longer, because that's still pretty modern stuff. Canton Toe, what do you make of individually sleeved cables? I like individually sleeved cables. However, I think they can look a little bit busy. Um, Cable sleeving Linus. So this is how I've decided to do my sleeved cables. So this is my personal rig update series of videos, which I started like a bajillion years ago. This is part 6, and it was in February 22nd. We're up to part 9 now, and I'm still nowhere near finishing my system. But what I decided to do was take 2 wires and put one sleeve over them for a slightly, you know what, this one actually here. Let's try personal rig Linus. Let's find one where I can actually show you what the cables look like. So part 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, test fitting and sleeving progress, more updates. Yeah, there we go. Sleeving progress. So if you check this one out, part 7 has some sleeving progress in it, and it shows you my idea for cable sleeving with 2 wires per sleeve. And then I think the end of this one actually, nope, doesn't have anything else in it. There's one that has my baby in it. I think it's part 8. Lorenzo DK wants to know, what is the possibility of water cooling leaking? If you puncture it with something, it will leak. I mean, it's water. If you're diligent and careful and build water cooling, as well as you can, the odds are actually very, very low. I mean, when we're talking custom water cooling, guys like SwiftTech, EK, those guys are pressure testing their components before they ship them to an end user. Every single one gets pressure tested up to however many PSI, which is many times more than you will ever encounter in a PC water-cooled system. So the odds of those parts leaking, not so much. And really, a leak on a live system should never happen because you should always have leak tested the entire loop with the system not powered on first. There's lots of guides on the internet for how to do that though, so I'm not going to cover that here, there. Do I have a computer making video, asks Jake Bob. Jake Bob, I would suggest that I have the best computer making video. Here, PC build guide. Right there. Top hit under the advertised video. Number 1, above PC Whiz Kid, who I also like. But that's only part 1 of his video. This is the entire video. Let's see if anyone else even shows up on the radar. Look at these guys. They got 1 million views for that. How to build a computer, choosing your components. That's outstanding. Here's part 2. Here's part 3 of that. This is a good video. How to build a PC, the ultimate guide from Tech Syndicate. That's good old Logan, the ex-Tiger guy, who's taking care of that channel now. So it's pretty good stuff over there. You should definitely subscribe to Raise the World with a 0 rather than an L. David wants to know what I think about Hackintoshing. I still haven't done it yet. I keep telling myself I'm going to work on that next, and then I keep putting it off for something else. I think it's awesome. I think dual booting Windows and OS 10 environment is probably the best compromise. So if I was going to get a notebook tomorrow, I'd probably get some kind of a MacBook with a unibody frame. I mean, you guys can hate all you want on the MacBook and OS 10, but it's a beautiful notebook. But for the desktop, yeah, it really doesn't make sense because the price to performance and the component selection is just not there on the Apple machine. So it'd be great to be able to Hackintosh it, to have a real computer, and then run a toy OS on it if you want to. Final Cut. Although my understanding is the new Final Cut isn't that sort of fantastic. iOS 6. Did you download it? I have not. I am still using iOS 5.1.1. With all the horror stories about the maps, I'm a little bit terrified to try iOS. Oh, so disappointing. It looks like cameraman might not be able to join us tonight for our live iPhone 5 unboxing. Although, if we end up doing it, then, you know what? If he arrives here tonight at some point, I promise you guys I will turn the live stream back on. However, I'm not going to do another YouTube video announcing this, so you guys are going to have to just subscribe to me here on Twitch if you want to make sure that you catch this, because it's going to be very exciting. I promise not to rip on it too hard, though. Francisco wants to know Windows 8 versus Windows 7. You know what? I haven't had enough time with Windows 8 to really make some kind of an intelligent decision about that. So I'm going to wait till I actually have a release copy in my hands. I'm going to install it on my personal machine and see how it goes. Alex Rupert wants to know 3820 or 2600K. I would love your input. I would suggest to you, Alex, that those are both last generation processors. And given the parity in pricing between a 2600K and a 2700K, you probably shouldn't be looking at the 2600K in the first place. And with the fading availability of Sandy Bridge processors, you're probably going to want to look at an Ivy Bridge, which is a 3770K, and is definitely faster than that 3820. When will 1440p TVs and monitors be available as the standard resolution? Question from Nathan. Nathan, I would suggest that they will never be a standard resolution, much the same way that, well, lots of resolutions were never really a standard resolution. We're going to move straight to 4K, would be my guess. I mean, you can see everyone's working on denser. See, I keep holding up the iPhone tonight, because it's pixel density. Everyone's working on pixel density. Everyone wants higher resolution, but when it comes to broadcast standards, they don't like changing that often, and they don't like just sort of willy-nilly shifting things around. It's not like the PC where we can just have some resolution because we use like power strip and deem it to be thusly. There's a lot of infrastructure that goes into a standardized resolution. So we're gonna be moving to 4K, and asking me how much they cost. Come on, man. You just are the runner-up for. Whoops. There we go. More light for bogus. How could I possibly know? They'll cost as much as. No, they'll cost 4K dollars. I don't know, man. I know you can buy 4K cameras now for as little as $5-6 grand. I've been looking into new cameras. I'm hoping to not be using this webcam in like, I don't know, a couple weeks. Got a shopping list at B&H that I'm pretty much finalized. I think we're going to get a Sony FS100 with a lens and with a tripod and with some new lights, which are hopefully going to make me not look like washed out and blue and pale. I can't even figure out how to fix it. This webcam is not that great. I mean, all this stuff behind me looks about right. Maybe I'm just sitting too close. Hey, that might be the problem. It's fine now, but I kind of have to be here because I have to like read the screen and stuff. So what can we do? George wants to know if there was a water block for the Extreme 11, would you use it? Because I know a guy that says he's talked to you. No, I wouldn't, because I'm done with the Extreme 11. Honestly, the performance of the board isn't that great, especially for gaming, just because of the two PLX chips that are installed on it. Will give you a higher number in terms of the bandwidth readout in GPU-Z, but it won't actually improve your performance. I know, I've just shattered your perception of reality. More bandwidth is not always better, especially if it adds latency. So the only reason I was considering the Extreme 11 was because I hoped it wouldn't coil whine, and it looked outstanding. It's just like an awesome looking board. I'm not going to invest a whole bunch of money into a custom water block for a board that really, for me, doesn't have any advantages over the X79 SUP5 that I ended up settling on. So it's a gigabyte board. Ian wants to know, is SAS just multi-plug for SATA? Actually, SAS has different features than SATA. It does have, it's more RAID friendly. I believe you can run longer cable runs. SATA supports breakouts as well, so it's not just SAS that supports breakouts. I mean, SAS tends to get better features earlier than SATA, so SAS had NCQ before SATA did. So there you go. No, they are different standards. Remember, guys, SAS controllers will work with SATA drives, but SATA controllers will not work with SAS drives. Okay? Emmanuel wants to know how old my cats are. They're going to be 3 years old this December 28th. Yep, they will be 3 years old. Let's see if any of them want to visit us yet. Rumble! Rumble, come here. Kitty! Rumble! Usually he comes when I call. Hey! Cat! Oh, there he is. See, he's giving me the old stare down. See? There he is. Hey! Come here. Come on. So not interested. Nope, nope, we're not getting any special guests tonight. I know, I promised special guests and then I did not deliver. I'm sorry for that. Brian wants to know, is it frustrating when people constantly ask you questions you've answered in your videos? Actually, no, it's okay, because for one thing, they're easy to answer because all I have to do is go click video where I explain for 5 or 10 minutes the answer to a complicated question. Yeah, no, if anything, it's more convenient. Tuon wants to know, how is your massive RAID 6 with your Seagate 3 terabytes? Any problems with dropping out since error recovery control is not supported? Actually, I haven't had any issues with them. Things are going good. Things are going fine, and they're awesome. Things are good. I'm loving my massive RAID 6 with all my stuff stored on it. Adam B, right there, wants to know, did you hear about more Thailand floods coming? Do you think this will affect hard drive prices again? If the manufacturing facilities flood, then yes, prices will be affected again. However, my understanding is Thailand floods on a fairly regular basis, but that was just sort of very extreme, and all the manufacturing facilities were on like one floodplain. So hopefully we won't see a repeat of that again. And we are all the way down to the end, I think, of the questions that are new. So let's go ahead and have a look at the 307 new interactions that I don't stand a freaking chance of getting to entirely here. I am curious, how many people are watching tonight? 1,400 people. And guess what? I did find where I had the Twitch stream open before, which might have been the problem with the echo. So I'm going to try something here, and I'd like you guys to let me know if this works. Do we have an echo again? Just tell me once. Do we have an echo again? No. Excellent. How is the sound quality? Bad. Yes, no, no, pretty good. Okay, you know what? I'm done with the Twitch. You know what? We're turning that on to slow mode because I can't understand anything you guys are saying here. Okay. Medium, fine, fair. Okay. Someone wants to know if he can be a mod. Okay. Well, back to Twitter. 344 new interactions. Oh, uh-oh. That'll be a problem. There we go. That's that Windows arrow shake feature that's amazing. Okay. Twitter questions. Good quality. What's your opinion on jet skis? Jet skis are awesome, and anyone who doesn't think they're awesome doesn't know what they're talking about at all, because jet skis are amazing. I've only actually really been on a jet ski myself a few times, because here in Vancouver the water's pretty cold, so it's yeah, not that great. Like, it's cold. So when I was down in Mexico a few years back, I spent a fair bit of time on the jet ski near the all-inclusive thing where we were staying, and yes, it was a blast, especially when the water's not cold. Okay, Paul wants to know full screen versus windowed benefits, and what exactly is the difference from a processing standpoint and performance hit. I'll tell you right now, it really depends on the individual application. Full screen will always be consistent, but Windows might run fine with some things and might run totally rubbish with other things. So I personally have never really understood the appeal of running things in windowed mode, because then you got like frames around it. I find it detracts from the immersiveness. But hey, to each their own. If someone wants to do Steve Jackson wants to know, there we go. What can I do with my old LGA 775 processor and motherboard? Steve, I would suggest to you that you can do any number of things. You can build yourself a storage server using like a Windows Home server. You can build yourself a router using pfSense. And throw a couple like network cards in there, and that would be pretty neat. You could give it away to charity. Lots of charitable organizations getting donations of old computers. So there, a few suggestions for you. Wen wants to know, why don't I use a 5D Mark III for the camera? I'm looking for a camcorder, not for a DSLR. Just I don't want to deal with the DSLR hassleness. I know the big sensor, it looks clean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but we're going to be doing some pretty different stuff involving needing a clean HDMI feed out from the camera because we're going to be using some HDMI capture cards and stuff like that. And so it should be pretty good news bears as far as the quality of our overall operation here, but a DSLR really just isn't going to do it for us. DJ, I did it again. DJ wants to know what are the 2420T and the TX, and the 2410T. What are the major differences? Never ever type "da" in the place of "the." I'm not answering your question. You can retype it, and maybe we'll get to it later. The differences. Does my baby play with the cats? He's still a little young. He's with them. When do I think 3D monitors will decrease in price and become more popular? Over time, they will decrease in price, and over time, they may or may not become more popular. It really depends on what people think of any of the advances that get made in the whole 3D technology thing. Oh, hold on. Okay. Having a little bit of trouble with the whole Twitch stream. With some people who are being inappropriate, and apparently the sound's cutting out now. Brilliant. Okay, hold on a second. I have one idea. Oh, someone says Mike is okay. And let's turn off this feature here in the Thunder FX setting. So if you guys haven't used a Thunder FX card before, I'll show you how the control panel works by hopefully putting this over here, which apparently, oh, look at that. That's bizarre. It doesn't work at all. It actually doesn't show you the Thunder FX window that I'm dragging over there. So I'm going to try turning off the environmental noise canceling. So you guys will have to let me know if that's a little bit better. And hopefully, hold on, Unvoice. I'm going to set a couple of moderators in the chat because this is pretty annoying. Okay, it says audio is cutting out. Well, that's massively improvement. Oh, okay. Apparently it's better now. You know, it's funny because when I did a test of this, the noise canceling feature was actually like worlds better than when I didn't use it. And I guess for the live stream, it just doesn't work at all. Mr. J Bacon wants to know what's my middle name, and that will forever be a mystery of tech tips. Am I excited for the new Haswells? I'm actually extremely excited for Intel's upcoming architecture. I hope that it's more of a difference over the previous generation than Sandy Bridge to Ivy Bridge was. I'm a little bit nervous that we're going to have the same issues we had with Ivy Bridge, where the tininess of the transistors means that they run hot again. But you know, maybe in that time, Intel's made some big advancements, and it's going to be really exciting. It's going to overclock like stink. So yes, I'm very excited to check it out. And right now I know absolutely nothing more about it that any of you do. Miles, I'm actually afraid I haven't heard of the new ICU PE power line rumors. So maybe you can tell us all more about it. At some point in these live streams, people can actually call in, like kind of like a radio show. I think that'd be super exciting. But for now, I don't have the means to do that. I mean, I'd need to have like some kind of like TV here, and people would be able to like Skype in or something like that, and that would be actually really neat. And people say cutting out. Sounds like it's the headset, not the hardware. I don't know, guys. It shouldn't be the headset. We will figure this out at some point. Someone's asking how to find my Twitter. I'm at Linus Tech. And there's a cat on my counter. He needs to get down. Hey, get down. Thank you. All right. Let's go back to some Twitter questions here. Does the GTX 660 have better performance than the GTX 570? I don't know, actually. I haven't tested them head to head. Although your best bet would be to look at any GTX 660 review and just find one that has GTX 570 numbers in it as well, and then you'll know. Um, Sites like Hardware Canucks and Antec, these are good ones. You can see performance of video cards and CPUs and various things like that. Nick, who has a fantastic picture of Mr. Bean for his avatar, asks 3770K or 2600K for gaming. Both would be cooled by an H100. They're pretty similar, especially if you're overclocking. The 3770K getting my personal pick because I do a lot of video transcoding, and the onboard graphics is much better for that versus the 2600K. Sean, since you've decided on the Gigabyte board for your rig, what's the next thing you're looking for the rig? The next thing I need to do is actually stressing me out a lot because I have to cut up my Silverstone TJ07, which is like eating me up inside. I have to carefully plan where I want to cut some cable management holes in the motherboard tray, as well as where I want to cut some other cable management holes throughout the rest of the case. I don't want to make any mistakes. I'm not a Dremel expert by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm a little bit worried about lining something up wrong or cutting a line that's supposed to be straight and level and kind of looks like this. I mean, I am going to be powder coating it after I'm done, so a little bit, but it's still making me very nervous, which leads us to Matthew's question. What is your favorite case? My favorite case is the Silverstone TJ07, with some of my other honorable mentions being the Fractal Design Define R3, the Corsair 650D, the 800D. Antec's P280 is also outstanding. So those are some of my favorite cases. The Corsair 300R is a great value considering the price and how good it looks. Daniel is upset that he bought a Thunderbolt cable and didn't gain any superpowers. Daniel, you must have cheaped out. You must not have bought the $50 Thunderbolt cable. So that's probably the problem. Go buy yourself a more expensive Thunderbolt cable, and then you shouldn't really have any trouble with that. Do my cats swim? Not if they have a choice. just like most cats don't swim if they have a choice. Okay. Moving right along. Chris. Aye. Right there. Are there any NVIDIA 3D Vision 2 with Light Boost technology monitors that don't have TN panels? Great question, Chris, and the answer is no, for a couple of reasons. So monitor technology is kind of is not advancing that fast in terms of the speed of the pixel changing, which is ultimately what is holding us back. And people are still complaining about the mic. I don't know what to do about the mic, guys. So sorry. So that is still the bottleneck for us, is how fast we can switch the pixels. Now there's a lot of tomfoolery that can go on to enable the panels to switch faster. So TN, for example, is a faster panel technology than IPS or MVA or PVA or PLS. It's the fastest one by far, but it compromises in terms of accuracy. So it's kind of like okay, so here, your PLS panel, which is my personal favorite, is kind of like a sniper rifle, where it's like slow to reload and it takes a while to aim, but it's very accurate. Whereas a TN panel is more like a like a machine gun or something. So speed versus accuracy. So the PLS panel or any of the other technologies are going to give you better color accuracy, better color depth, generally an overall better image. Whereas a TN panel is going to flip the pixel as fast as it can. It'll get kind of close, but not quite there every time. So that's why all of the 120 hertz panels that are validated for 3D are TN. Even those panels that people are buying from Korea, they're buying from overseas, those cheap 2560 by 1440 27-inch monitors, the Cat Leaps and the like that everyone's kind of into right now. Even though you can set it to 120 hertz and it'll do 120 refreshes of the image per second, in terms of motion blur, which is when you're actually changing, for example, from a dark background to a light background, like with my finger and the window here, you will see the pixel having to change, even though with a static image, it might be sending a signal to itself 120 times a second. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. No else would validate a non-TN panel for 3D, because when the pixels are shifting so that they show you the right or the left eye, back and forth like that, the pixels won't be fast enough even if the refresh rate is fast enough. So it would never get certified, at least not the way it is now. OLED, on the other hand, might be a different story once those get bigger and a little bit more mainstream. I mean, personally, I'm super disappointed that we never saw SED see the light of day. That was Canon's display technology they were working on, and it just disappeared. Um, Another really good solution is a DLP projector, because DLP is, again, much faster for switching in terms of not the refresh rate, but the response times than LCD is. Good question, Chris. Thank you for bringing that question to us. Ruben wants to know OCZ Vertex 3 or 4 versus Intel 330. I'd probably go with the Vertex 3 out of those choices. Vertex 4 also not a bad choice. Intel 330 is it's a lower end product, but it's Intel, so it's fine, it's reliable. Sebastian, what is the model of your Snap-on screwdriver? I don't know. It's their Snap-on ratcheting screwdriver. Why don't we go on a voyage of discovery together, and we'll try searching for Snap-on ratcheting screwdriver. See if it comes up based on the magic that is Google. There it is. There's one. There's an orange one, just like mine, on the eBays. There's a picture of one just like mine. Ooh, look at this. There's a whole, oh, wow, I need to collect them all. This is like Pokemon for, Snap-on screwdrivers. I'm geeking out over here. Are these all different colors? No, they couldn't be. No, no, there's a handful of orange ones. There's some multiple black ones. That is awesome. So here's something you guys probably don't know. Each of those screwdrivers costs about 80 to 100 bucks. So that's actually, in terms of sheer dollar value, a sexier picture than two GTX 690s next to each other. But you just don't know it because you're not into Snap-on tools, which some people might be, but Mike A., what do you see as the next Battlefield 3 in terms of graphics card testing? Crysis 3? Probably. I mean, Sevat Yurli, or however, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but the Crytek guy basically came out and said, we are going to pwn PCs with our upcoming version of CryEngine, and I'm personally very excited to see them try, because every time we have a game dev actually properly utilize the PC hardware, we end up with a game that looks awesome and has makes us feel a little bit better about the money and the time that we've invested into using this PC platform for gaming, rather than, popping a disc in the drive and sitting slack-jawed on our couch like this with a controller in our hands, which is not as satisfying for everyone, and I mean satisfying for some people, I'm sure. And I'm not judging at all. I mean, it's not like I have a totally unbiased and not at all, PC glorifying PC versus Xbox video about this kind of a topic. Oh, there we are, by NCIX. Although this guy right here is probably not me anyway, so I don't know what you're talking about. PC rules. Justin, I want an Asus TF700T. My girlfriend wants the new iPad. Which would you choose? We both already have iPhone 4s. Fascinating question, Justin. Hard to say. I actually don't really like the Gen 3 iPad for a couple of reasons. Number one is it is noticeably heavier than iPad 2. Anyone who tells you it's not doesn't know, because they probably haven't used an iPad 2 extensively. I'm still using my iPad 2 on a daily basis. So it is heavier. The thing that really bothers me about it, though, is it runs warmer. So if you're using it without an insulating case, kind of a thicker case, you will notice it gets warm in your hands to the point where your fingers will probably sweat, and you won't be comfortable. TF700T doesn't run 100% super cool either, but it was cooler than iPad 3 from my time with it. However, the Android platform isn't for everyone. If you're used to iOS and you like iOS and you have all the apps that you want exactly where you want them, then you might find that you're better off going with the same ecosystem. But if I was really buying an iPad like today, I'd be looking for one of the new generation iPads. Actually, Anantech did a fantastic article about this. One of the new generation iPads using the smaller process technology that enables it to have better battery life, like just way better battery life than the iPad 3 and even the original iPad 2. So hold on, iPad 2, oh, right, iPad 2 and Tech. I keep forgetting which keys I'm using for the switching. Ah, yes, this one. 32 nanometer brings better battery life. So let's check out their graph here. If you guys don't read Anantech, then you should definitely check out Anantech because it's like the best. I've been reading Anantech for years and years and years and years. Learned tons reading this site. So here we go. iPad 2.4 gets 11.7 hours of battery life. iPad 2, which is orange, gets 10.1. iPad third generation is all the way down here to 9.25. So that means a difference of more than 2 hours of battery life between. So okay, you got your high resolution screen, good for you. I'll be using my device for 2 hours longer than you between charges. Comes down to personal preference, but I'm just not that sold on the iPad 3. When we get the high resolution screen in a slightly thinner form factor with longer battery life, then we're talking, and then I might be convinced to pull the trigger on that one. Shane wants to know, is the 660 Ti good graphics card, comparable AMD cards? YouTube is full of awesome information like this. GTX 660 Ti review. And there's me. And there's me. And there's me again. And there's everyone else. So go ahead and check it out and decide if you think it's good and what are the comparable AMD graphics cards, because they're all in there. Austin says, I live in Vancouver too. I want to ask you, which high school? Okay, this kind of thing won't be tolerated. If you spell school like that, and if you spell you like that, then I'm not answering your questions. Brian, when is the last time you went to a LAN party just for fun and not for work? Wow. I think the last time I went to a LAN was probably Kaplan a few years ago, maybe Cetoan LAN a couple years ago. Like there was a time when I was kind of I was going to Kaplan, I was going to Cetoan LAN, I was going to whatever iteration of Vancouver, Lower Mainland, Van LAN, whatever they were calling it at the time. It's been a long time. I suck at video games, especially now, and so it's just been hard to justify. Okay, let's see if there's any new questions here. Ah, William. I am getting an SSD, but I'm not sure what one would be the best to get, such as brand and size. Thanks for reading. Oh, he only wanted me to read it. Moving right along. Nah, I'm just kidding. So back to William's question. In terms of size, you should buy the size that you need and the size that you can afford. I mean, come on, I can't answer that question for you. If you're like, oh, well, it's going to be for, a pfSense router box that I just want to use a solid-state drive in so that I can not listen to a whirring hard drive and worry about it failing, well, then get the smallest one you can. Or if it's like, I'm going to like gigantic, like 3D models of swimming pools, or something, I don't know, then you better get a big one. So only you can decide how big of a size you need. And as for the best brand, I mean, there's lots of good brands. Intel, OCZ, these are all good choices. They're all good drives. Here's the cold hard truth with the whole SSD performance thing, and there are people who would disagree with me, notably my favorite SSD reviewer, who's the guy over at Hardware Canucks. He does not agree with me at all about this. But I would argue that an SSD, for 99% of users out there who are still using hard drives, any SSD is going to be such an enormous upgrade that it's totally doesn't even matter what they choose. Pick any SSD, find a modern SSD, buy it, and put it in your system, and who freaking cares? Because you won't be able to tell the difference. I mean, if you go back to SSD versus hard drive, which is a video I did a long time ago, this one right here with the legendary lizard hat, I show real-world demos, like alt-tabbing in and
Now
out of
this
a
is an episode
game,
of Tech Tips that I've wanted to do for
loading
a long
games,
time.
loading
I'm finally
windows,
getting around to
all
it.
that kind of
This
great
is
stuff.
SSD versus hard
And
drive. So without
this is
going any
on an
further,
old
I'm going to
Vertex, what was this? I think this was
SSD. I'm
like
going
a
to Alt-Tab
Vertex
out of the
LE
game.
or something
Boom,
like
you're at
that,
your
which was an
desktop.
early
I pressed
Vertex 2
Alt-Tab at exactly the
with a
same time on
Sandforce
that hard drive
controller.
machine, and I
And so
am
you can
still
see
waiting
we're,
for it to go to the
waiting around
desktop.
for the hard
Same
drive
thing when you
computer,
want to
which
go
is
back
this
in a
one.
game. Oh,
And the
okay.
SSD
Or if you
computer
want to
is much
see a
faster,
Supreme
and there's some
Commander
other
2
demos
ad,
where
when you want to go
we
back to the
boot up and
game,
there's a bunch of applications.
the
Here's my
SSD is
alt-tabbing
faster,
demo.
just
We're
like
back in
that.
the game with the
So now
SSD.
let's
We're
hit
not
both
back in the
systems
game
a
with
little
the
bit
hard
harder.
drive.
Let's say you're searching
So
for all
I
of a
couldn't show you
particular
this
file.
demo
Like let's say you're looking
with
for every JPEG on your
a
computer
SATA
or
2
every
SSD here and a SATA
TXT
3
file on your
SSD
computer.
here,
So you can
because
enter a
this
search
demo would
that
look
is
pretty darn
asterisk
close. In terms of
dot
real-world noticeability, there's like
extension, and
hard
let's say
drive,
let's
which is
choose the
here, and then
extension
there's like hybrid drive, which is like,
INI, because
okay,
there will
let's say
be
about here.
tons of
Then
those
there's
on
like
any Windows
SSD,
machine. So you can see
and
that the
there's like
SSD is
other
populating my
SSD.
list way faster.
Old
You can tell by
SSDs,
how much
using
smaller the
those
scroll
first,
wheel
second
is
generation
versus
J-micro
on the hard drive.
controllers or other
That's a really
problematic
difficult demo to
architectures
show though.
were
And you can also tell that
not
the search is
good,
completely done.
but newer
There we go.
stuff,
And the
newer
hard
stuff is
drive
good.
is
It's pretty
still
much all
working at
right.
it. This is the green progress bar that is showing how far the hard
Okay.
drive is. Yeah, we've got
BJ wants to
451
know,
items. We're
when
still at
do you think AMD will
411,
release
412, 451. The hard drive is finally done. So that is how much longer it
I
took
know
for the
that their
hard drive
upcoming
to populate
CPU is
with
still going to be using
451
AM3
items here.
Plus,
And then
PCI
let's
Express 2.0.
not
I also know it
forget
really
that
doesn't
one of
make
the
a
most
difference
stressful
because
things you can do with
dual
your
channel
computer
DDR3
is dare
fine
to use
for
it
now,
while you're running
and
an
PCIe
antivirus
2.0
scan.
is
So let's open
quite
up the
frankly
computer
fine
scanner
for
in
now.
AVG
You're not going to
and
see any
let's
kind of a difference
scan whole computer
going from
now.
PCIe 2 to
Now,
PCIe
when
3
you're
with the
scanning
same
your
graphics
computer,
cards.
obviously anything that you try to
Brian wants to
do
know.
is going to be hampered by the fact that you're doing that. So
Brian
why don't
wants
we
to
go
know what
ahead
are
and
my
just
thoughts about the
do a
thermal
simple thing
interface
like
material
open up
inside the
Microsoft
Ivy
Word.
Bridge. I'm pretty
Bam,
disappointed with
SSD
that
is
whole
done, the hard
fiasco.
drive
I
is still
really
waiting
did want to
for
pop the
the
top off one at
read
one
to
point
recover
and
from where
check
it's
out how
scanning
much
for
of a
viruses
difference
and
we
then
could
open up the
get.
file that contains
And I did
Microsoft
never
Word.
get around to that, but
So in
maybe
conclusion,
you
I thought I'd
will
open
find
up our
time.
test
Maybe
machine
go to
here and
Ivy
let you
Bridge,
know
and that's
that
what
there
I'm doing
is no
anymore, and I don't
smoke and
still
mirrors
need
going
that
on
chip
behind
for
the
testing
scenes.
stuff.
Every
And I don't
test
care
you
if I
saw
kill
was
it,
run on
then
two identical
maybe
machines, one
we'll
with
do
the
that.
Vertex LE, one with the
This is
Western
a good
Digital 1
question.
terabyte black, which is one
Oh,
of the most
hold on. Let me
respected,
find it.
fastest
Slick's calling.
magnetic hard
See
drives
if he's
on the
just calling
market
the
today.
controller if he has
But after the
anything
demo you saw
useful
today,
to
why
contribute.
isn't everyone using an
See if he asks me
SSD?
about
The answer to that is
what we said
because right
before.
now they have
Hello?
significantly lower capacities and much higher
What?
prices. The SSD we're using today costs over $900 and it is a 200 gigabyte model. The hard drive we're using costs about $100 and it is a 1000 gigabyte model. To a lot of people,
He apparently was calling to tell me that the YouTube video playing in the background was causing problems, which I suppose if I'd been looking at the Twitch TV chat, you guys were probably, oh, whoa, there we go. Yep, BGG286 says, Slick calling to tell you about the audio. Outstanding. Thank you, Slick. Say 1 billion bleeding lambs all at the same time, so there you go. See, guys, I'm still new to this, so whatever, man. Slick rules. Thank you, Slick. Slick, Slick, Slick. Thanks, Slick. Thank you. I love you, Slick. That's what everyone has to say about all of this. Praise Slick. Okay, bye, Slick. So there you go, guys. If there was any doubt that was sort of faking the address book entry when I texted him earlier, then let that be a lesson to you. Oh, I've got a message. Mute the YouTube audio. Thank you. So, yeah, whatever. You guys run your own live stream then. I'll watch your live stream and I'll troll you. Let's go back to Twitter. People respect me, unlike my phone where people call me and tell me that I'm live streaming. Ahmed wants to know what would be a good water block for Galaxy's GTX 670s. Any water block that is compatible with from EK. I don't know who else. I don't know who else has a GTX 670 block here. Why don't we do research together? So I'm going to show you guys the process that I go through whenever someone asks me a question or whenever there's something I don't know. First, I Google it. Did you mean GTX 670 water block? Sure. Okay. Then I go to some store. In this case, let's go with Frozen CPU because they have lots of good stuff. And then I look at all the different GTX 670 water blocks, and I find the one that looks pretty cool. Okay. Oh, the XSPC one is cheaper. XSPC makes good stuff. EK makes good stuff. SwiftTech makes good stuff. These are all good brands. I don't like their new circle design though, so we're going to go with the acrylic top. And there's your answer. Oh, there's your answer. Done. That's assuming you have a reference GTX 670. If you're using a Galaxy card with a non-reference PCB, you pretty much probably won't be able to find a water block. If you want to water cool your graphics card, you're probably better off to go with a reference card like 95% of the time. Every once in a while, you'll see some special card like an NSI Lightning Edition that has a full cover block available, but it really doesn't happen that often. Okay, Sagar? Dear Linus, hi, I'm from India and biggest fan of your reviews. Please allow Indian for all giveaways. I have not done a North America only giveaway in like 2 years. Everyone needs to just get over it. I did it one time. Every other giveaway I've done has been worldwide. So I don't want to address this anymore. And thank you for writing into the show. Lucas, did Logan have any hand in helping Linus Tech Tips? I would be greatly interested in knowing the origins of your info. Linus Tech Tips is called Linus Tech Tips and not Logan Tech Tips because it comes from me. Logan had a hand in helping Tiger Direct blog for many years, and he has a hand in doing his own thing with Raise the World, but we've never actually collaborated on anything. So, I mean, we've exchanged emails, we've exchanged YouTube private messages a few times, but that's about it. Yep. Keith wants to know which GTX 660 would I choose that is non-reference. Most GTX 660s are non-reference, if I recall correctly. This is one of those cards where NVIDIA has made the reference design sort of very, very optional. So I would probably do something like this. I would go to my favorite computer retailer's store, and then I would look for a GTX 660, which I would find more easily if the page layout wasn't totally broken because I'm scrolled funny. I'd find one with like a sweet cooler or something, and then I'd buy it. Yeah, you know what? I don't really have a preference on the 660s. The only one I have any experience with is the MSI Twin Frozer 3 one. I had no problem with it. It's got a Twin Frozer 3 cooler. I'd look for one with an aftermarket cooler. I usually prefer like a dual fan cooler versus a blower cooler, just because they tend to be quieter and they tend to run cooler. But yeah. Phil wants to know. I'm never going to get this, am I? Phil wants to know, is there a huge difference between surround and stereo headsets? I use cheap earbuds in game and can still pinpoint the directions of sounds. Great question, Phil. And I would suggest to you that it is a simple matter of mathematical calculation that you can kind of go, okay, if I have 2 audio inputs, which are my ears, and 2 audio outputs, which are my speakers, then as long as the software mixing is done correctly, okay, and this is complicated, this is the functionality of audio, then in theory, a stereo setup is as good as anything, in theory. For headphones, I would never really use ones with dedicated speakers because what you tend to end up with is lots of small, tinny sounding speakers instead of 2 larger, better sounding, deeper sounding speakers. However, when it comes to speakers, actual physical speakers set up around you, I would suggest if you want, sound speakers are actually better than 2 stereo speakers in front of you. So there you go. That is my answer to that question. Francisco wants to know if it is worth spending the money on water blocks for 2 HD 5770s. Francesco, these kinds of value analyses are actually quite simple. First, let's find out if anyone even made a GTX 5770 water block. Okay, apparently EK did. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go to Aqua Tuning. Let's find out how much one of those is going to cost you. 5770, okay, we're in USA and Canada. Look at that, US flag for the USA and Canada region. We Canadians get no love. Okay, yeah, let's proceed again. Okay, let's try this. 5770, go. So it looks like your water block is around 40 bucks. So for 40 bucks times 2, plus whatever you can get for your 5770s, which is usually a quick thing. This is the way I always do this, guys. So we go on eBay. So far we're spending 80 bucks. 5770. We go on eBay and we can find out about how much a 5770 is worth. So buy it now, 6 bids. So let's assume it's worth around 65 bucks. So if you sold your two 5770s, that would give you 65 times to $130 plus $80. It would give you $200 to spend. Okay, so if you had $200 to spend, you could go to NCIX and search for GTX 660, and you would find that a new graphics card, oh, okay, 660, right, the non-TIs, is around a little over 200 bucks for an EVGA 660 superclocked. Then you go and look at a review of a GTX 660. Okay, so see, are you guys following me so far? This is the calculation. So we've got 200 bucks to spend. We spent about 10% over our budget, which is unfortunate. Okay, here we go. Here's our review. We're going to go, let's just pick some arbitrary game, like one that scales pretty well sort of across the board, like say for example, really they're using Crisis Warhead? Sure, okay, Crisis Warhead. Let's find out how Crisis Warhead performs. And then we go, okay, so the 660 destroys pretty much anything below a 7850. Then we can go back and we can look at a 7850 review. Okay? And we can find out, well, Guru 3D. See, these are all credible sites. Guru 3D, Hardware Canucks, and Antec, Tom's Hardware. We're only looking for approximates. We're just doing a rough calculation here. So prices too. It doesn't really matter. We're looking for approximates. And they do not have a lot of, oh, there we go. 7770, a 78 gets absolutely rocked by almost double, which means that even if your 7770s scale pretty well in Crossfire, your new GTX 660 is going to be more than 10% faster than that, which means that it is the same feature set, longer term driver support, probably more worthwhile to get a new card as opposed to spending a bunch of money on your old cards. That, folks, is the way we do it. That is how we figure out what's a better value. You compare things across multiple reviews, you figure out how much it's going to cost, how much your hardware is worth, and then you just flip your 70, or whatever they're called, 57, and oh wait, 5770s, was that even the one I was looking at? I was looking at 7770s. Oh, the 5770 is terrible. Yeah, no, it's a terrible value. Yeah, get a new card. There, now we know. Now we know the answer. Oh, look who visited us. It's Rumble the cat. Say hello, everybody. Can you say hello? Here, let's give him a headset. He's not going to feel like he's part of the show unless he has a headset. Rumble, can you say hi? Can you say hi? No, he's not impressed at all. Okay. The cat is not impressed at all with our setup here. Anyway, we are going to sit together now, and I'm going to answer some more Twitter questions. Twitch TV is only for gaming. Too bad. That's this guy right here. Too bad. Twitch TV knows I'm here. They can kick me off if they want. That's fine. Oh, he's getting down. Okay, let's go back up to the top here, because all these tweets are from about half an hour ago. Who knows? These guys might not even still be watching anymore. Let's have a look at some new tweets. So we're probably going to wrap things up in about 10 minutes here, guys. And I will hopefully... Yes, MK, I know. Fix my audio. It's cutting in and out and dying and something. Check Twitch randomly at least. Oh, he wants me to check the Twitch chat. All right, let's have a look at the Twitch chat. That cat is so cute. Yes, it's a cat. Guys, if you want questions answered, go post it on Twitter. Yes, guys, if you want questions answered, please do post them on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Linus Tech. And I'm mostly ignoring the Twitch chat tonight because I haven't got a better system for arranging the windows here. I'll figure out something for next week, I hope. And by then, I really hope the audio will be fixed, but I really don't know what else to say about it at this point because I've tried everything. I've tried this external sound card. I've tried this external sound card. I've tried freaking this external sound card, which is supposed to be Baus and like balling out, and none of them are working for me here. So I've tried multiple headsets, and cameraman wants my address. Apparently he wants to like hardcore creep me. Actually, no, I already told you. That won't work because I already told you guys that he was planning to come here with an iPhone 5 so that we can get an unboxing done, which is very exciting. Gary wants to know, Linus, what is the most silent pump? Thanks very much. Get an MCP 655 or a D5. They're the same thing. Turn the dial all the way down to 1. Very, very, very quiet. KMR wants to know, Linus, how do you know how to learn to string a badminton racket? I have a friend who works at a badminton shop, and he showed me. It's actually not that hard. Once you get the hang of it, you got to do like the over, under, over, under, over, under. You have to look up the stringing patterns on the manufacturer website, make sure you put everything through the right holes. Who knows, maybe I'll do a video about it at some point, but I'm not very good at it. It takes me about an hour to string a racket, and to put that in perspective, he can do it in I think about 20 minutes, maybe a little less. So I'm incredibly slow, and my way of doing it is actually not that efficient. Paul Tiberius Nicola. That is a fantastic name, Paul Tiberius. How much does a PCI Express high-performance SSD affect video cards using up PCIe lanes? Lose the entire electrical lane. Okay, Paul, first I'd like to clarify a little bit how the PCI Express lane allocations work. So as long as you install that PCI Express, there we go, that PCI Express card into a slot that isn't in the same slot as your graphics card, they're not really fighting over it. So for example, in an X79 board, you've got two 16X slots, or you've got 1688. If you install that PCIe card in down here, then it'll switch to 1688, which really won't affect your performance much. So I know that's what you meant. I was just messing with you before. But yes, it will change the configuration of your PCIe slots, but you can sacrifice as little or as much as you want. I mean, lots of boards, especially Z77 boards, have PCIe 4X slots, usually down at the bottom, that are hooked up through the chipset and running off a completely different set of PCIe lanes versus the two 8X slots. So you just have to look at the layout for your board and see what makes sense for you. Fazil says, from Iraq, and I say, hi, Iraq. KPK TDS, how many years will last an i5 3570K for gaming? Please answer. I would love to answer you with a video. YoTube.com. Let's see what comes up. Oh, special daily rewards. Oh, I've been selected to take part in an annual visitor survey. To YoTube.com. What a scam. Don't go to YoTube.com. It's probably a scam. Although when you guys are gone, I'm going to go back and find out if I won anything. I just didn't want you to get like my activation code so that I'd have to share my prize with you. All right, future proofing. Let's see. Oh, it's me! Holy crap, look at me, I'm right there. Proofing your PC, dispelling some myths. This was one of the simplest NCIX Tech Tips episodes we ever filmed, and this time I'm going to remember about the YouTube audio, so I'm not going to wreck it. But I basically talked for 10 minutes about how future-proof...
Welcome to NCIX Tech Tips. Today's format is going to be a little bit different. First, when you get your next paycheck, or like a month later, then it makes sense. But if you intend to actually...
Basically, I say, don't worry about it. It doesn't work that way. No one has a crystal ball. Anyone who tells you you're future-proofing your PC is trying to sell you something. I mean, yeah, don't believe that. Joe wants to know, GTX 660 2 gig or 3 gig? Joe, the answer is quite simple. If you're going to be running at very high res, go ahead, grab the 3 gig cards. If you are not running at high res, if you're going to be running at sort of a more normal, like 1080 resolution, go with the 2 gig cards because it won't make any difference whatsoever. Edward Dworkin Would you recommend an AMD APU for a very low budget rig? Absolutely, Edward, I would, especially if you want to play entry-level games on it, because compared to Intel's integrated GPUs, the APU our integrated graphics that's included is really good. It's way better than even Intel's Ivy Bridge GPUs. So let's see if the cat wants to come back and visit us again. Looks like he's thinking about it. Yep, here he comes. All right, more Twitter questions. Zach, do you ever use Linux for anything? No, I don't. I get that question a lot, though. Daniel wants to know, where do you think a college student should start looking for a job related to what I do? What I do is product management. So if you took, like, I don't know, product management program, then you might learn a thing or two about managing products. I mean, product management's pretty simple. Basically, you find stuff you think people would want. You try and find it at a price where you think your company can make money, and then you try and sell it at a price where the company does make money, but people are still happy with the price and they want to buy it. So, as long as you can handle those basic ideas, then you should be fine. It's not rocket science by any stretch of the imagination. As for the YouTube thing, the best way to get started looking for a job related to YouTube is to, well, upload videos to YouTube, because that's probably how someone will see your YouTube video and watch it and like it. Speaking of which, you guys should like this video. Wait, no, it won't work that way. Well, I'm going to upload this video to YouTube after. So if anyone's actually still watching an hour and 18 minutes into it, then they can definitely like my video, because if they've watched that much of it, they probably like it. Jesse just sent me a link to Newegg. How dare you, Jesse? How could you do this to me? Some heatsink. I don't know, it's a heatsink. Did you know Newegg has a site just for Canadian shoppers? All prices in Canadian currency. Ah, Newegg, Newegg, Newegg. Yeah, you have a Canadian site, but I don't know if anyone cares. Bam! Take that, Paul. And the other guy. Shoot, I even tried to get everyone to follow him. No, I can't even remember. My brain's kind of fried. It's actually been a very long day, and I've been live streaming for almost an hour and a half, so. And in answer to your question, Jesse, go with the better heatsink, which is the one you linked, not the Cooler Master 212. Matt wants to know, what is going on with the Piledriver CPU, and when will AMD make a new CPU without integrated graphics? Coming very soon. There's lots of information all over the interwebs. If you were to search 50, you might kind of interesting. I can't tell you anything, but the rumor sites, for all the flack they take about being wrong about this or that, are right so often that it's definitely worthwhile reading them if you really want to know what's coming in the future. Stephen, I'm trying to decide between, is it worth investing in the Intel? Short answer is fine. It's a bit of a longer answer than that, unfortunately. Low-end gaming machine, entry-level gaming, just basic productivity, go with the AMD machine, because it honestly doesn't make that much of a difference anymore. Any CPU is fast enough for word processing these days. If you want a higher performance machine, then Intel will perform better. So do you want to spend more and get more performance? Okay, go Intel. Do you not want to spend more? Do you not want more performance? Go with AMD. I mean, there are certain applications, however, even perform pretty well. Something like an FX 8150, where all those cores are being leveraged, can perform pretty well. Especially given the price points. I think an 8150 is around $200 now, and the motherboards are cheaper. Katsu, Linus, what do you think of two 120mm rads compared to a single 240mm rad? I'm planning to water cool my 550D, and I want my sound damp pads. Two 120mm almost identically. The only difference is you are going to hamper your flow rate a little bit, which doesn't make that much of a difference to the performance of your loop. So if it's more convenient for you to use two 120s, go for it, do it. It really won't matter that much, especially if you have a decent pump. Don't use like a craptastic pump with it or anything like that. They'll get an MCP 655 or a 350, or a 355 for that matter. Michael, can you still overclock Intel CPUs without a K on the end? You can, but only a little bit. If you really want the benefit of that CPU and you want to really crank it up, get one with a K on the end. Jan says, Linus, show us your cat. Bam! That's my kitty. Okay. Phil's question we already answered. Simran wants to know, why don't I ever review Asus video cards? To which I would reply, I don't know, let's see. Asus Linus. Oh, okay, let's try Asus Linus video. Okay, we got a GTX 580 Mars 2. We've got an Ares 5870 X2, although that was just a giveaway. There's the unboxing of it. Here's the testing of it. Here's an unboxing of a 560 Ti DirectCU 2. Okay, so I see your point. All right, all right. Okay, so some of this is older stuff. Honestly, I don't have them, so it's harder for me to, look at them, investigate them, check for imperfections in the finish. Yeah, it's really that simple. Whatever crosses my path, and usually for Asus, it's things like sound cards, and motherboards, and notebooks. Whatever crosses my path, I will make videos about, and I don't get my hands on Asus video cards. Khalil, I missed you when you were at CES. Will you ever be near Northern Nevada or Sacramento again? I don't know. I might be at CES again next year. I might not. It really depends what happens. Yeah, and we got our favorite troller. Ha ha ha, you're so cool. Aw, it's adorable. And have you updated your iPhone to iOS 6? I have not. We're going to scroll down. Linus, turn off the YouTube video. We've gotten down to that. Felix says, fail night, Linus. Video is louder than you and getting longer mic breaks. I know. I don't know what to do. Well, I do know what to do. I need to get better equipment, and it's coming, but for now, I don't know what to do to address it. All right, let's go look at some of the newer tweets. 122 new interactions. Thank you to those of you who are still watching, because there are still 1,500 of you watching the stream, which is just outstanding, especially given the technical challenges we've had tonight. I'm sure at least a few people are probably getting sort of frustrated with all the technical difficulties, and I'm sorry for that, but I really do appreciate your guys' support and the fact that you're watching the show. Joe wants to know, should I upgrade to Ivy Bridge from my Q6600? I would say that is an excellent upgrade. You've waited a few generations. Yeah, you deserve it, man. Go ahead and upgrade to Ivy Bridge. Haswell's going to be faster, but you can always end up waiting for the next thing, and you're going to get a definite performance increase from that upgrade. Merit, how difficult is it to water cool GPUs if you are already custom cooling the CPU? Not that difficult. Actually, the hardest thing about water cooling a GPU is installing the graphics card water block. But if you're very careful and you pay special attention to the instructions, you shouldn't have too much trouble. So let's go GPU water block guide. Let's see what comes up. There's one from Singularity Computers. There's one from Trubitar. There's one from Dasmode. Hey, it's Dasmode. He's Canadian too. And there's me. So I show you how to install a full cover water block on a GPU. As long as you watch that video and figure that you can handle that, then go for it. Have fun. It's good. Oh, Rubayet. Can you recommend a cheap gaming laptop? That's like asking me if I can recommend, a delicious, a delicious bottle of urine. Or, wait, no, it's more like bottle of, I don't know, apple juice. I like apple juice. Orange Tropicana. It's like, yes, it's like asking me for, I don't know, it's contradicting. Gaming laptops aren't cheap because the CPUs, the GPUs, the displays, everything about them is expensive. So, no. Maybe buy one used. I don't know. Darian, can you build a computer for me? I will tell you all the parts I want and pay you for the assembling fee. Please tweet me back. You know what? Let's tweet back Darian. I wonder if he's still watching the stream. Let's tweet him back. Let's say is $1,000 is $1,000. Think he's gonna say? You think he'll do it? I'll tell you what. If he does it, then I will spend $500 of the assembly fee that was collected buying some high-end graphics card, and I will give it away on Twitter. Let's see if he does it. Okay, moving down. Shelby, I just wanted to say thanks for making videos and educating me. I ordered my first order from NCIX yesterday. Way to go, Shelby. You did good. All right, we've got only 3 minutes left, guys. Oh, no, I promised a test for the XFX double D cooling system, but never did one. You know what? I'd totally forgotten about it. So, in all likelihood, it's probably not coming. Because there's enough sort of new video cards coming out and everything that I'm pretty busy. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that for now. Rhino Rager wants to know, why is it that when I record and I watch it, it's so choppy? Are you talking about recording games? I'm going to need some clarification. Maybe resend that question next week. If you're talking about recording games, if you're talking about recording videos, or whatever else the case may be. If you're talking about recording this live stream, then maybe just watch it on YouTube after. I don't know. Moving right along. Dali wants to know if I can speak some French. Non, je ne peux pas parler français parce que c'est trop difficile. Haha! I told him I couldn't in French, basically. It's too difficult. It's been a long time since I've really spoke any French. I'm not, my vocab is, I can't remember anything anymore. Joseph wants to know, do I personally like NCIX's site design? Answer truthfully. I will answer truthfully, but partially. I liked it 8 years ago. CJ, sorry to repost this, but I want an expert opinion. I just bought two EVGA 480s. Is this still relevant, or should I upgrade? As long as you're okay with the heat they kick out, then they're fine. I mean, you probably only paid a couple $100 each, which is still a very valid price for those cards. $200 for something that's essentially equivalent to a GTX 570, except kicks out more heat. And scales pretty well in SLI. Fermi card. It's actually more powerful for CUDA than a 570. So yeah, totally fine. And I think we're pretty much done here, guys. One more tweet. Let's take the top tweet once I reload this, and then we are pretty much gonna wrap it up here. So let's switch back to here. All right. Alexi, no, that's not really a question. Sorry, Alexi. Rumble Muffin wants to know, why is it that 11 CPU is only clocked to 4 gigahertz in my benchmark videos? Because that was a quick and easy overclock. It's something I know that anyone with that CPU will be able to attain. So as long as I use a setting that I know other people can replicate, then my testing is therefore easily replicable. I've clearly had enough of this, so I'm eagerly awaiting cameraman to show up with the iPhone 5, and maybe we'll stream that. Don't forget, guys, if you aren't already, make sure you are subscribed on YouTube, Linus Tech Tips, subscribed on YouTube, NCIXCom, following me on Twitter at Linus Tech, and subscribed on Twitch, because all those different places get all kinds of different content that I work every day on producing just for you. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Moment.